What's going on, guys? My name is Carey, and today I'm counting down the 3 biggest manufactured home mistakes I've ever seen. These 3 mistakes ended up costing thousands and thousands of dollars, and 2 of the 3 could have easily been avoided. Number 1 on the list, a simple mistake actually ended up costing someone their home. The great thing about mistakes is that once one person makes a mistake, others have the opportunity to learn from it and then can avoid making the same mistake in their own life. If you're thinking about buying a new manufactured home, follow along. I'm going to tell you what went wrong in each situation so you can avoid making the same mistake in your own life and having a smooth home buying process from start to finish. The 3rd biggest mistake was one of my very own. I've made my share of mistakes over the years, but this one really stands out because it was expensive. We were delivering a modular home to a rural property that had trees on both sides of the driveway. The home was to be craned onto a full basement, and because of the narrow driveway, the crane had to drive in first and get set up. Then we would bring each half of the modular in one piece at a time and crane it onto the basement. The day of the delivery, the crane showed up at 8 a.m., drove up the driveway, and got set up no problem. Then we started moving the first half of the modular in. If you've seen any of my home delivery videos, you've probably heard me say every space looks big until you put a house in it. And this property was no exception. There was one tree that I had looked at weeks before the house arrived, talked about with the customer, and ultimately I decided that the tree could stay. Keep in mind, this property was literally in the forest, and so taking out one tree would not have made a difference, and I don't even think the customer would have cared if we cut it down, which usually isn't the case. However, I decided it wouldn't be in the way, so we didn't cut it down. Now, if you've never rented a crane that's big enough to lift a house, I'll tell you, they're expensive. Like hundreds of dollars an hour expensive. Usually when we're craning a house, we have the house ready to be lifted before the crane even shows up, so they can come in, they lift the house, then we send them on their merry way so they stop the clock on our bill. That wasn't possible on this house because of the way the property was laid out, the driveway, and where the house was going. The crane had to go in first. They go in first, the clock starts running, and now we're paying hundreds of dollars an hour for them to be there. You can probably already guess, but the tree was a massive issue. The truck didn't have enough room to get by without doing like 150 tiny maneuvers, and it ended up taking us hours to move each half of the house 150 feet. A job that should have taken 2 hours ended up taking around 9, all because of the tree. So we had to rent the crane for the entire day. What can we learn from my $1,000+ blunder? Basically, when you're getting ready for the arrival of your new home, more space is better. This is a home traveling down the street and up your driveway. It needs a lot of room and a lot of room to move around. If the person you're buying your home from suggests a tree needs to go, a section of fence needs to come down, or your neighbor's car needs to be moved, take their word for it, and you can avoid any stressful situations and ensure the delivery process is silky smooth. Now, if a tree is even in question, we take it out. Better safe than sorry, better more space than not enough. The 2nd biggest mistake was on the delivery of a beautiful 1,600 square foot double wide to some folks who lived in a place called Cache Creek, which is a couple hours west of where I live. At the time, we were buying homes from Palm Harbor in Millersburg, Oregon, so every time we ordered a house, it had to ship around 950 kilometers. That hadn't been a problem before, other than normal stuff like minor delays with construction. However, on that particular delivery, when the house was only 20 minutes away from the property, the driver put the home in the ditch. Luckily, the driver walked away and no other vehicles were involved, but the house was totaled. Imagine ordering a brand new house, waiting months for it to be built, and then finding out it flipped on its side in the ditch only 20 minutes away from your property. Not a good feeling. The trucking company we were using hauled over 100 houses per year for dealers all up and down the West Coast. So the guy behind the wheel was competent. It was just one of those bad luck, right place at the wrong time scenarios. After the dust settled, the factory moved the half a house to be rebuilt to the front of the line, and we were able to get it set up rather quickly because everyone involved was properly insured. The big takeaway from this incident is things can go wrong. Maybe not as big as a house being totaled in an accident. I've been doing this for 12 years and that's the only time I've seen that happen. But when there are humans involved in any step of the process, there is chance for human error. Humans aren't perfect and people make mistakes, so be prepared for the fact that your home may not arrive on the exact day that it's scheduled. When delays do occur, it's usually the result of something that's totally out of the control of everyone involved, so you just need to keep working, keep moving forward, and get the job done. The second takeaway is always deal with reputable companies with proper insurance. If that trucking company hadn't had proper insurance, it would have been really hard to get that second half of home built so quickly, shipped and set up as easily as it was. So that's a big one. Holding down the #1 spot on the list of the biggest manufactured home mistakes is of course the one that ended up costing the client their home as a result of a minor misstep in personal finances. At the time, I was working on putting new homes in a manufactured home park called Lakeland Salmon Arm. The client, we'll call her Client X, was looking to downsize from a double wide on a freehold lot to a single wide on a pad rent lot. It was back in 2015, so at that time, a double wide on a lot was selling for between $250,000 and $300,000, and a new single wide move-in ready on a pad rent lot was selling between $120,000 and $130,000. I had a single wide that she wanted set up on a lot, so we made a deal subject to the sale of her home. Client X's home sold. However, between the time of the sale and the time she finalized the financing on the new home she was set to buy from me, the mistake was made. After the sale of her home, Client X purchased a brand new Ford F-150 before finalizing the financing on her new home purchase. I don't know exactly what her payment was on that truck, but it was enough that she no longer qualified for a mortgage on a home. I did a quick check online and it looks like you can get a brand new truck for $952 a month if you finance for 60 months at 2.99%. A home can be financed for 25 years, so even though the price was higher, the payment would have been lower at $580 plus $400 for pad rent. So for $28 more, she could have owned a brand new home. But here's the kicker. Houses in that park have increased in value significantly, so homes that were selling for $125,000 in 2015 are now selling for $190,000. So not only did she miss out on a new home, she missed out on about $65,000 of price appreciation. This was a very innocent mistake that anyone could easily make, and the only reason I'm sharing it is to hopefully prevent others from making similar mistakes. When you're getting ready to buy a new home, be very careful with anything that could negatively affect your ability to buy. Credit card debt, vehicle payments, student loan debt, and other recurring payments can negatively affect your chances of being approved for the loan you need to purchase a house. No new cars, no new debt, basically no fun until after you've secured the financing for the house, and only then if you can afford it. These three scenarios are real life examples of big manufactured home mistakes that cost thousands, added stress, and could have easily been avoided. I hope by sharing them with you today, you can learn from them and be better prepared for your own home buying experience whenever that might be. That's all I've got for today. If you like manufactured home videos, you might want to subscribe to my channel because I've got all sorts of new ones coming. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.